Hello, and welcome to Release Readiness Live. I'm Elna Miller, your Release Readiness champion. We are broadcasting from our home studios this week as we bring you some of the new features from the Summer 20 release. After our product managers give the highlights, we'll take some of your questions live and on the air. So we will be monitoring both the Release Readiness Trailblazers community as well as Twitter. So if you do have a question, please post it in one of those places. Use the hashtag Salesforce Live. And if you can ask the question earlier in the webcast, that would be really helpful. If we don't get your question live and on the air, don't worry, we will follow up with you within the next few days. All of our webcasts will be available for later viewing on the Salesforce Live website. Now, we may be talking about the roadmap or making some forward-looking statements. So please make sure that any purchasing decisions you make are based on currently available functionality. Now, let's get started with the Commerce Cloud and meet our product managers.
Hello, my name is Bhagat Ganga. I'm a product manager with the Commerce Cloud platform team here at Salesforce, and I'm super excited today to talk to you about a new headless API-first commerce platform and the developer toolkit. Commerce is everywhere. Shoppers today are buying products not only on traditional e-commerce websites, but also on mobile phones, social channels, smart devices, and even IoT devices. To help you build premium commerce experiences anywhere at any time, we are launching the Salesforce B2C Commerce Headless platform in July this year. With the new Headless Developer Toolkit, developers get 5 key benefits. Number 1 are the new and enhanced commerce APIs built with API-first methodologies to help your developers build premium and high-scale applications for merchandisers and shoppers. An example of a new API is the Content Delivery Network CDN Zones API that helps developers create firewall rules and customize the eCDN. Developers can create rules that give you IP access control and region access control, which helps you deny access from specific IP addresses or regions, preventing bad actors from accessing your storefront. Number 2, the new APIs have rate limits and CDN caching that helps developers build predictable and better performing apps. 3, developers get best-in-class dev experience with the Commerce Cloud Developer Center, which is a community-supported and community-engaged platform where developers can engage with other members in the community as they build headless applications. Using the Developer Center, developers can discover, share, and build commerce applications quickly. 4, new dev tools that significantly improve the developer productivity. Dev tools include an app creator, Node.js SDK, and the sample app, using which developers can see how easy it is to build, deploy, and test headless applications that talk to the Commerce Platform APIs. Lastly, we're also launching solution kits that have details and best practices for building the common use cases for headless applications and cross-cloud integration scenarios. Now, let's look at these 5 key benefits in action. Today, our demo is going to be about Joe, who is an application developer at a retailer who is interested in doing headless commerce. First, we are going to look at Joe's onboarding journey, where he is going to use our Commerce Cloud Developer Center to learn about the tools and APIs. Next, Joe is going to create a new commerce app using the app creator and then build, deploy, and test locally. Then he is going to customize that app locally using open source technologies that he is already familiar with. And lastly, he is going to deploy that application to Heroku so that he can share what he has built with his colleagues. First, Joe visits the Developer Center to learn about the new dev experience. Joe goes to the developers.commercecloud.com. Here is where he has a lot of content to explore. Joe sees that there's a getting started guide, a trailhead module that he can go through if he wishes to learn fundamentals on headless commerce. There is an API reference section that has rich documentation and usage instructions on the new APIs. And the new tools and sample app section has details about the new sample app and the SDK. This looks like a lot of great stuff, but Joe is all about getting hands-on. So Joe clicks into the Get Started section, glances at the prerequisites for creating a commerce app, and is happy to see that he already has a lot of tools he's going to use. He has a Commerce Cloud Developer Center with his team's data and is already using NPM to build JavaScript applications. Joe is also so relieved to see that ubiquitous non-proprietary tools like NPM, Node.js, and GitHub feature prominently in the new developer toolkit. Now that he knows what's needed, he navigates to a section that has details to create the new commerce app. Next, Joe installs the tools needed, creates an app, and runs it locally. Right in his local terminal, he can create a new commerce app using the app creator. And then he heads back to the Get Started section to see that he needs to create a configuration file that has the details to connect to his developer sandbox. Joe heads back to his terminal to create the configuration file. And after filling in all the details to connect to his developer sandbox, Joe saves the file and installs the dependencies to run the sample app. After installing the yarn dependencies, Joe is able to build the sample application right in his local machine. Once the build is successful, Joe is able to quickly start the application in his local machine. This is a game changer for Joe. It's the first time he has been able to take advantage of local development while building on Commerce Cloud. Really cool, isn't it? Now that Joe has the app running, he wants to browse the application. He searches for shorts, navigates to product detail page of a product, and checks if all the required attributes are displayed here. He notices that some of the requirements that his team has given about the product, like fabric type and fit, are missing in this. So Joe wonders how he can customize this product detail page to show the missing details. Now let's see how Joe is able to customize the app to show more details on the product detail page. First, Joe heads back to Commerce Cloud Developer Center, gets to the API reference section to look at the products API. He searches for products endpoint, opens the shopper products API, and here he can see the rich documentation and the details about the product API describing different use cases this API can be used with. And also in the API specification section, he can see different endpoints for this API. Joe is actually interested in the Get Product API, which gives the details on the product detail page. You can also see here that he can hit a mock-in service to get sample responses. Joe also notices that there is a feedback and discussion section, and this is where Joe can interact with other members in the developer community and also with Salesforce employees by asking questions about this API. Joe finds this really useful. Another thing Joe is able to do is go to the Graphql Explorer that is part of the sample app. GraphQL is an open source query language for APIs. Here, Joe can query details about a particular product. Here he can add long description, image, or any other attribute of the product to query against the API directly. Here he notices that long description has the details that he is looking for. Now that Joe knows that he needs to add long description for the product, he opens the code to see how he can do that. Joe first looks at the implementation for the product details. Here he can see how Salesforce with its Node.js SDK has made it super easy to connect to Shopper Products API. He also notices that if he needs new data or connect to a new API, he doesn't have to deal with writing boilerplate code like handling authentication, configuring to connect to the correct sandbox. He looks at the product model and notices that long description is already being written from the API. Next, Joe looks at the Lightning Web component to see if long description is missing here. And here he can see that for the product detail page, long description is actually missing. He quickly then adds the long description saves the file, refreshes the page, and boom, now he can see the details he is looking for. That's super cool. Joe has only been using this new technology for a short amount of time, and he's already able to make code changes to the app to display more details on the product detail page. Now that Joe has his customized app running in local, he'd like to publish it to Heroku so that he can share it with his colleagues. He is excited to share his quick progress. By running a few commands from his local terminal, he publishes the app to Heroku. He then goes to the Heroku dashboard, opens the app, and just like that, he has his app running in Heroku. Joe has accomplished a lot of tasks in a short period of time, and he wants to continue to learn more about building his app. He is interested in discovering what else is possible and how to build reliable, scalable apps. Joe opens the Headless Commerce solution kits and finds that Salesforce has included in-depth information about how he can improve his app with techniques like caching, error handling, and monitoring capabilities. Joe has had a great start learning about the commerce platform's capabilities and is super excited to continue the journey. Thank you for hearing me out today. If you're looking to develop engaging commerce applications, please head to developer.commercecloud.com to get started. Now let's welcome Cindy to talk about the page designer enhancements coming in this summer.
Thank you, Bhagat. Hello, everyone. My name is Cindy with Salesforce Commerce Cloud. I'm extremely excited to be presenting to you today the new enhancements to Page Designer, dynamic product listing, and dynamic product detail pages. First, what is Page Designer? Page Designer for Commerce Cloud empowers business teams to create beautiful and impactful commerce experiences fast. Customers are using Page Designer to build home pages, content landing pages, help, blogs, and more. Business users can design, schedule, and publish pages in an easy drag-and-drop interface with reusable components built by developers. We provide a library of great documentation and reference components to jumpstart your enablement of this feature. Developers can easily create custom templates that define functions, markup, and management experience. Business users can then access the visual editor via Business Manager to build rich experiences with targeting and localization capabilities, and then preview and publish the pages in the same interface. Let's see this in action. I'm accessing Page Designer through Business Manager via Merchant Tools, Page Designer. I will first demo the dynamic product listing pages and start by selecting New. A wizard will walk me through the steps. Here, I want to select the product listing page and Next. You'll see I am presented with my Storefront catalog. I'm going to select Men's, and you'll notice that Men's and all the subcategories are selected. I'm building one page that will update all the men's category pages. Yes, it's really that easy. Selecting Next, I need to provide a name. Let's use Men's June Sale. Next, I'm brought to the page summary. And lastly, I will hit Save and Create, where I am brought to the canvas area to start designing. The preview tool is displaying the men's suit category page, but again, creating this one page will update all the men category pages. Let's drag and drop the dynamic category banner component to this top region. As this is a dynamic banner, it automatically pulls in the image and category title of the category I'm viewing. I have the option of overriding the image and category title. I'm going to keep the images the same, but we'll change the title to read 20% off. I'll save and close, and we can now see it reads 20% off. This change took place in all the men categories. I really love this next feature, the promotional content tile banner. This component allows me to add an asset into the grid region. Today, I'm going to promote the men's sale, but you could use this for free shipping, registration, announce new products, and more. I'll drag this component into the grid section to start building. I can create this as a single tile or a full row. I will select an image and also add some text using heading 1. Save and close, and you'll see the component has been added to the grid on all the men categories. There you have it. We just built a dynamic product list page in one template for all the men categories. Next, let's see how the dynamic product detail pages work. Back to the Page Designer listing page, I select New and Product Detail page. I select Men's, and all the men's subcategories are selected. I am now updating all the products that are assigned to the men's category page as their primary classification catalog. I will name this Men's June Sale PDP. Review my page setup and hit Save and Create. The Preview tool will allow me to assign a product ID that I want to visualize in the canvas area. On the product detail page, I want to use the promotional content tile banner above the product detail page to promote my sale. I'll drag and drop that in the top region. Add an image and text overlay using heading 1. Save and close, and we can now see I have a banner above my product detail page for products in the men category. We just created a dynamic product listing and product detail pages for the men's category page with a few clicks. Let's take a look at the enhancements to Page Designer coming out in Release 20.7. First, we have site search improvements. Page Designer pages will now be part of the full page indexing. Developers can specify the values that the merchant configures for component or page attributes to be searchable. We also have auto-assigned preview. When building dynamic product listing pages, the category assignment at page creation will be carried over to the Canvas page in the visual editor and populated when viewing the page. We are adding context-relevant visibility rules. This means that on a product listing page or a product detail page, the user can define when content appears based upon the category being rendered on the storefront. When a user first enters Page Designer, they see a list of existing pages. We are adding a few columns to display the type of page and category assignments. We will also extend the sort and search on this page to improve management of pages. And finally, we plan to display an SEO tab for product detail and product listing pages that includes a message and a link to the Tag Manager and Business Manager. Rules created in Tag Manager will be applied to the product detail page and the product listing page. That's all that we have for Page Designer today, and now I'd like to pass you over to Amanda.
Thank you, Cindy. Hi, my name is Amanda Hatker. I'm on the Commerce Cloud product management team, and I'm super excited to be here today to share the new enhancements coming to Salesforce Order Management. In the summer release, we're excited to announce that Salesforce Order Management will be expanding globally. In this release, we have a ton of new features that will enable our customers to power their order management experiences at global scale and connect with their customers wherever they are. During today's demo, we'll highlight how we've enabled gross taxation across the entire order lifecycle, our ability to support multiple channels across different languages and currencies, and our expansion into new payment providers via the App Exchange. Now let's get started with a demo of the Salesforce Order Management Summer 20 features. We'll start this journey on a Commerce Cloud storefront to show how we're able to manage orders across regions from creation through fulfillment and into service. Imagine I'm a shopper and I'm looking for a new bracelet. As you can see, this storefront is fully localized for France. And once this order is placed, we'll show you how Salesforce Order Management is able to manage it based off of this regional criteria. I'm going to add this item to the cart and check out. As soon as this order is created in Commerce Cloud, it will be integrated into Salesforce Order Management. And we'll show you the new features in the summer release, unlocking our ability to create tailored experiences in any region. Now that our order is placed, let's take a look at this order in Salesforce Order Management to deep dive on the new features we've introduced for global support. As you can see from the order summary list view, we're able to filter orders by specific tax locale and by sales channel. This makes it easy for order management users to drill into orders based off of region. Now let's take a closer look at this order and the new capabilities that have been added to support gross taxation and multi-currency. As you can see, the order was created on Commerce Cloud and it ran through our pre-built integration in order management. As part of that, we were able to identify the currency and the tax locale so we can capture this information on the order. Now users are easily able to identify the VAT totals for the individual items on the order, the shipping cost, and any promotions. These new values represent gross taxation. They've been introduced across the entire order lifecycle, including the order summary, fulfillment orders, and invoices. In addition to representing the tax locale in these objects, we're also able to carry this through each of our order servicing capabilities. Let's demonstrate this with one of our new order servicing features coming in the summer release. In this release, we will provide service agents and order management users with the ability to modify prices on an order post-creation. This new feature enables discounts to be applied to items or shipping cost pre or post-fulfillment. Let's take a look at how this works alongside our new features for gross taxation and multi-currency. Let's use a scenario where if a customer contacted the customer service team because their item arrived late, the service agent is now able to discount the shipping cost. And as you can see in this flow, as they are discounting the item, the gross taxation fields are represented through the entire service experience, in addition to the region-specific currency. Finally, the last exciting feature to highlight with our global expansion in the summer release is our ability to support asynchronous payment transactions, so we can now support payment providers such as Adyen. As you can see here, the payment details now track the payment balances when processing asynchronous transactions, in addition to supporting this via our APIs in the order management payment interface. We are so excited about the new features coming to Salesforce Order Management with our global release. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to answering your questions. And now I'll pass it off to Elna to wrap things up with the Q&A.
Okay, so now we're ready to take some questions. If you still have questions or questions are still swimming around in your head, feel free to post them now, just as we get started with the first batch. You can post them in the Release Readiness Trailblazers community or in Twitter and use the hashtag Salesforce Live. We're going to continue to monitor those two channels even as we go now, so feel free to post those questions as soon as you can so we can get to them on the air, because we have a good amount of time to go through those. So pretty good chance we'll get to it on the air if you post it now. So let's get started with some questions for Bagath, starting with you. So will there be a cost to use the Salesforce Commerce API? And if so, what is the pricing model? And can you talk a little bit about that?
Thank you for the question. Great question. So if you're an existing B2C customer following our existing GMV-based revenue model, you don't have to pay anything extra to use the APIs. They're free of cost. But if you don't have you're not an existing B2C customer, and if you don't have a sandbox, you can still go on developer.salesforce.com and actually try our APIs. All that is free. You can look at our API documentation. There is a mocking service for you to actually play with, to look at sample responses. And you can actually go into our GitHub public repository, download a sample app that we put up there, and then actually see how you can actually see how you can implement a sample application or a headless application if you want to. So yeah, that's the. And in the future, we will have we'll have a usage-based pricing model on the APIs, but it's not in the roadmap yet, but it'll be coming sometime next year.
Okay, great. What about developer orgs? Can you play with it in a developer org? If you want to create a sample application, sample code. Yeah,
you can actually buy credits to get an on-demand sandbox. B2C sandbox, and once you have the on-demand B2C sandbox, then you can actually develop a sample headless application and hit the data that you set up in our B2C Developer Sandbox.
Great, thanks for that. Now, if you're using Open Commerce APIs or OCAPI, do you need to switch to the new API?
You don't have to. That's another great question. So if you have an application or mobile app that is already built using OCAPIs, you don't have to switch to the new APIs. But the new APIs, as I mentioned in the earlier section, have a lot of advantages in terms of CDN caching, improved rate limits, and also new APIs, new functionality that we're providing in terms of like extensions to the basket API that we have, etc. But you don't have to switch to the new APIs. But you can actually, if you have a new use case, like that is not already solved by OCAPI, if it's available in the new Commerce API, you can actually use the new Commerce API along with OCAPI.
So how would you know, let's say you're just not sure if you have a use case, or maybe you just want to explore what would be the benefit to switching. What's the best way to kind of do that analysis?
Yeah, so you can actually come into the developer.salesforce.com, review the APIs that we have there, and decide for yourself if the use cases that you have will be met by the APIs. And if you have further questions, you can actually go into the feedback and discussion section on each API. Once you review the API and ask questions there, the questions will be answered by not only Salesforce employees like me, but also other members in the community who are like you, developing headless applications.
Yeah, so hearing from others, maybe how they're using the new API, that would be a great way to learn or get ideas and inspiration. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. So what about using both APIs at the same time? Is that possible?
Yeah, definitely. So let's say if you have a headless application or a mobile app built with OCAPI today, and if you're looking for more functionality in terms of, let's say, for example, we released our new search APIs that are built with actually improved functionality on a microservices based architecture. And if you want to switch to just the search functionality to use our new APIs, you can keep all your existing functionality, continue to using OCAPI, and then just the search functionality to use the new APIs. That's a possibility. And just a quick note here is that if you are using two different stacks, which is OCAPI and the new APIs, you need two different client IDs, because the auth or the authentication mechanism for using OCAPI and the new APIs is a little different. So you might need like two different client IDs that you might want to set up in Account Manager, but otherwise you can definitely use OCAPIs in combination with the new APIs.
That's a good call out, and that's great news, because I obviously, folks who are facing, what if I have to redo everything, recode everything for the new API, they don't have to do that. They can just apply one use case in a certain area, or gradually move if the end goal is to move everything eventually. At least they don't have to do it all at once.
Sure.
So that's great. Are there plans for Storefront reference architecture to use the Salesforce Commerce API?
That's another great question. No, we don't have plans to actually convert SFRA to use our new Salesforce APIs. SFRA will continue to be this reference application that our customers use to quickly get started on developing a website that works on the existing B2C commerce stack, right? But we do have a sample application that I mentioned earlier. That is kind of a proof point that will actually give you information on how you can use our SDK, our APIs, and how you can actually build a BFF layer and use our SDK and API. So it is built with like all the best practices in mind. So you can actually download that, play with it, but you will have to develop your own application for the headless use case.
Okay, great. Now I got some questions for Cindy, I think. So how are the SEO page title and meta descriptions managed?
Good question. So the page title and meta descriptions for the new dynamic product listing and product detail pages are derived from the category category and product meta tag rules that already exist in Business Manager. So in Business Manager today, you have your categories, and assigned to those you have page titles, page descriptions, or you may be even using meta page descriptions. Either scenario, those carry over into Page Designer, and those are the SEO page title and descriptions. And the same thing goes for your products as well. Any of the SEO, whether it's code-based or manually entered at the product level or used through the tag page manager, will be used in Page Designer.
Nice. I like that it carries over. Can the promotional component be tied to an actual campaign and segmentation group so that it can automatically turn on and off during the period?
Yes, which is really a great thing. Very similar to my demonstration, we had a 20% sale going on, and we added that to all of the men categories through one template. The great thing is if we wanted to do that only for a particular time frame or a particular customer group, we could use Page Designer's target and we could assign it to those particular groups, and the regular customer base will go ahead and have our everyday experience. So yes, you can use campaigns targeting within these new dynamic pages.
Nice. Great flexibility there. So on the product listing page, will my filters still render?
Yeah. So when you're looking at Page Designer and you're viewing that product listing grid, your sorting, your page filtering, all the refinements that you have built, those come directly from the storefront. Really what you're doing is you're adding a component above the product listing grid, below the product listing grid, and then you have the ability to drag that promotional content tile banner in the product grid. But the remainder of the functionality will obtain its regular sorting rule and its current filtering.
Great. And next one is, does the dynamic banner work on the search results page?
At this time, it does not. It is truly for the category and for the product pages as we viewed, something that could be managed with customization, and it's also feedback that I can bring to the product team.
Great. Always looking for feedback. It's always great to hear from customers, what their use cases are. Maybe maybe if somebody's doing a search, you may want to tie banners to certain search terms, for example, or just a general promotional banner, regardless of what people are searching for, might also be useful. So appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
Especially where we know, search renders such great results. People that come to your site to search really do intend to buy, so it would be a great place for it.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, does the product listing layout component support pagination?
Yes, pagination will still render at the storefront. So just as I was talking about with your sorting and your filtering, that product listing page is really going to work, as is when it's on the storefront. The only thing with that is if you are using pagination or you're using lazy load, when you're in Page Designer building and you're taking that new promotional content tile banner and you're dragging that into the product listing to promote free shipping or register today, you only have the ability to add that component to the first page. But your pagination, lazy load, those will always all work in the same manner.
Great. Thanks for that. Okay, I'm going to go to Amanda now, and I got a few questions for you as well. The first one is, what are ways customers can customize the order management experience for specific regions?
That's a great question. One of the things we're so excited about in this release is really leveraging the power of the Salesforce platform to make it possible for our customers to segment their order management capabilities based off of different regions. A great example of that is taxation. In North America, net taxation can be represented, but if a customer is selling in other regions like Europe or in Japan, they can leverage different taxation policies. Additionally, customers can customize their fulfillment flows based off of region. You may ship from different distribution centers or stores, depending on the region you're selling in, and we make that super easy to configure in our tool, Lightning Flow. We also make it really simple for you to create unique experiences in the order management console. So if you want to customize the view that your service agents or order management business users are seeing, It's super simple.
Nice. Thanks for that explanation. Now, what about the UI for tax locale? How does that work?
Yeah, so that's an awesome question. So as most of our users know, net taxation versus gross taxation actually represents different values to the end user. So if you're a business user looking at an order that has gross taxation, also known as value added tax, typically you wouldn't see the tax values for the unit price or any promotions or shipping costs on the order. You can leverage the Lightning App Builder to create user experiences that are specific to the tax locale. Leveraging a native field on the order called tax locale, you can create unique experiences for net versus gross taxation.
Nice. A lot of interest in region-specific configuration. The next one is the fulfillment flows specifically for regions.
Yeah, so Salesforce Order Management leverages Lightning Flow. Lightning Flow is an existing product in the Salesforce platform, widely used in both Sales and Service Cloud. We leverage this powerful tool to configure the fulfillment workflow. Because Flow can be triggered by Process Builder and you can leverage different attributes on the order, such as sales channel, you can create unique fulfillment flows per region based on the sales channel.
Nice. I love the integration with Flow because there are lots of customers who have multiple products, multiple clouds, and they're familiar with Flow already with Service Cloud or Sales Cloud. So to be able to leverage that knowledge and expertise and apply it to this is great. So I'm glad you mentioned that. And so what about payment processors specific to regions?
Yeah, most customers process payment differently in each region. It's very common to have different payment methods that you support in different regions. For example, in Japan, you may support cash on delivery, but in the US, that's not a payment method you support today. Because Salesforce Order Management leverages an open payment interface where our App Exchange partners can build their payment integrations, it makes it easy for our customers to modify their payment integrations per region or adopt different payment providers per region depending on the requirements.
Now, another region-specific question: can orders from multiple regions be supported in a single org?
We can, yes. So we can integrate orders from multiple regions in a single org, supporting multi-currency and multi-language. That is probably the preferred way for most customers, but you can also segment your orders into different orgs if that's the preferred approach.
Yeah, it definitely is more complex to manage if you have multiple orgs, because then you have to worry about synchronizing certain data across multiple orgs. So it's great to know that you can, keep it all in one place if you need to. So speaking of features in other clouds, are Salesforce Order Management features available in Service Cloud?
Yes, if you are a Service Cloud customer and also an Order Management customer, one of the great benefits of leveraging both of the products together is you can now bring your order data into Service Cloud. So that means as customers are contacting the call center, and if they need assistance with an order, whether that's doing a return or modifying their shipping address, that is now all available natively through Salesforce Order Management in the Service Console.
Yeah, I seem to recall that object being added quite a while ago. Work orders, is it related to work orders or is it a different?
Yeah, that's a great question. As part of the Salesforce Order Management product, we've actually added a bunch of new objects into the Salesforce platform that extend the existing order object to fully represent a commerce order. So we've added things like promotions, taxation, delivery addresses, and then on top of that, we've added some additional order management specific actions so you can do things like returns and cancellations.
Got it. So if you already were using the previous object that was in the Sales or Service Cloud, how would you be able to keep using it, or would you migrate the data into the new objects?
So you'd be able to keep using the existing object. When you enable Salesforce Order Management, we add some additional objects that go alongside that existing order object, and that data would now begin to be populated with Order Management enabled, but the same data you had in there in your org originally would still exist.
Oh, great. Okay. Thanks for clarifying that, because I remember reading about that as a single object, and now it seems to be a much more robust solution. So it's come a long way since then.
Yeah.
So now for those who are still, wanting to learn about this, maybe they haven't used this before, are there trails available to learn more about Salesforce order management or other ways to learn more about it?
Yeah, our product just went live in February, which is super exciting. And we launched our first trail last month. So it's out there in Trailhead. If you search Salesforce Order Management, you can try it out. It's a great way to learn more about the product. If you also go to help.salesforce.com and type in Salesforce Order Management, all of our help documentation is available there. And our content is also available on the developer website if you want to learn more about our APIs.
Great. So what about in the community? If somebody's used to being in the Trailblazer community, we do talk a lot about new features and release readiness Trailblazers, but there are often a lot of groups dedicated to specific products and solutions. So if you have a group, you could mention it, or if you have a recommendation, where's the best place for people to post questions after this week?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We don't have a Salesforce order management group. It's coming soon to the Trailblazer community. We will let you know as soon as it's available out there.
Okay, great. So we'll just put your questions in release readiness for now, and then you'll monitor that group and we can get the questions, send the questions your way when they come. And speaking of that, I think we have pretty much got through all the questions that we had for today. So we're going to give you a little bit of time back before our next broadcast starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, which is work.com, which is a brand new solution. So we hope you'll join us for that. And in the meantime, thank you for joining us here. Keep talking to us out in the Release Readiness Trailblazers group in the community, where all Trailblazers meet to be release ready.